Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do another reading for the friendship series, and I decided from all your recommendations to pick the one between SHINee's Taemin and BTS Jimin friendship, because I know that Jimin and the rest of BTS members are enlisting very soon. So, once they are in the military, I usually consider this a hiatus and I do not pull cards for them. So I'm going to take this moment to take a look a bit at Jimin's energy in this connection with Taemin, the two means. So yes, I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to the person that recommended this. So let's begin. I placed Taemin on the left and Jimin on the right. So yes, let's begin. Taemin got Page of Cups, Seven of Swords, and the World. And from Jimin's perspective, we have the Ace of Swords, Death card, and Five of Swords. And then the relationship as an overall, we have the Seven of Wands, the Hierophant, and the High Priestess. So it's very interesting. I could say they talk a lot. Like there's something about them connecting mentally. Maybe Taemin, because from Taemin's perspective, I see a bit more of emotionality. Like I see like Taemin a bit much more like open emotionally. Like being a bit more like sentimental, I would say, like emotional. In the case of Jimin, I see a lot of swords, and often I do get a lot of swords for Jimin. I know he's a Libra, he is a moon in Gemini, so it does make sense that maybe the way he like is in a connection with someone that he's used to, he has a sort of dynamic already with Taemin because they know each other for a long time. But for him it's all sorts. Like I don't see feelings, I see like communication. So yeah, it's interesting seeing like starting from Taemin's perspective about Jimin. Definitely he does care about Jimin. There's something about him being very sweet, very loving, very open, like being very gentle with Jimin. There's something about him, probably because, his double Cancer energy is like very sweet. I wouldn't say like he's like the mother, or he's like, trying to like sort of baby Jimin, or being like, oh, come here, I will take care of you. But I think that he's a guy that whenever he is next to Jimin, he gets very lovely, and he gets very like very sweet and gentle, and it's like, like come here, I'm going to give you a hug, like come here, I'm going to give you like a nice words, I'm going to, be sweet with you, be gentle with you. But then yes, we have the Seven of Swords as well, so I believe that also Taemin is someone that is, his character also changes a lot, like he's very adaptable. So I think that even though there's a lot of like emotionality, and he's open to connecting with Jimin, he's also very selective about what he says to Jimin. And I think that probably this has to do with him not wanting to address like, certain conversations that can make Jimin uncomfortable. Maybe, not talking about sad things, being very selective about the subject of conversation, or probably, like sort of like, okay, I will not say that, like out of respect, I will not mention this, sort of being like a bit selective, like, okay, like like I'm not going to bring this up because I respect you, and like because it seems like Taemin, there's a lot of secrets being like sort of shared here among the two of them, because at the end of the reading I have this High Priestess here in the middle, so when I pulled the list card, I was like, oh, definitely these two have a lot of information, and they also have the hype. They also have the Hierophant. So I believe that they know a lot about each other's company, and they also have a lot of information about their company. Like, so there's something like it's like from time to time I would say like the companies get in the way, like sort of like, okay, like do not tell him that if you're going to meet with him, like just talk about work and do not tell him this, or be careful, or avoid this subject. So I do see like sort of the company being in the way of the connection between them in the present, now, and possible future. Probably in the past they had more freedom, or they had like a sort of more like they were a bit more of complice, like they were like sort of sharing information freely. But now I don't know if maybe it's because the companies are changing and they don't have the same CEOs, or they don't have the same management. They are not allowed to share certain things. So I could see it from Taemin, and then from Jimin's side I also see it, like something has changed. Like probably their conversations are like very technical or are very short, but nevertheless Taemin's way of communication is very loving, is very sweet, is very caring. Definitely he loves Jimin. But yeah, with with the world card, definitely I think that also like Taemin is like adapting to changes. Probably he knows his relationship with Jimin is changing, is evolving, is coming to a new state. Things are changing, their lives are changing, their dynamic is changing. Maybe their schedules are also changing, and sort of Taemin knows this. So he's like, I'm sort of like going along with the cycle. Like I'm adapting to this change in our relationship. I believe probably has to do with the military. Him, because I do get a lot of source from Jimin's side. So I wonder if Jimin has asked or has had conversations recently with Taemin about that experience and what happened and how it went and what he should avoid. There's something about him asking for information. And I sort of see Taemin being a bit like selective, or like, I better do not say this because I don't want to influence you, or I don't want you to get sensitive about certain things. So yes, I will tell you what I know, but not so much. And also with the world card is like he's sort of accepting that there's going to be a change in their dynamic, because with Jimin being away, like there's something about them sort of adapting their connection with the changes that are appearing. There's a lot of changes, a lot of change of scenarios for these two. So definitely from Taemin's perspective, there's a lot of acceptance. There's a lot of, he's being gentle. He's like, okay, like I want him to be reassured. I want him to be okay. And probably he also senses that Jimin is a bit sensitive, so he's like, I better do not say this. So yeah, but he's slowly like, adapted to the change, and also letting Jimin know that whatever is going to happen in the future or in the next 2 years is a cycle. It's just a cycle, and that eventually you move on from this. Like it's not going to be permanent. It's not going to be forever. So, like also talking about flexibility to Jimin, and being like, don't be afraid, it's just a phase. Because yes, from Jimin's perspective, I got the Ace of Swords, the Death card, and the Five of Swords. So Yeah, Jimin is very. I could see him like even getting a bit nervous and also talkative, like getting very talkative with Jimin, like with Taemin. I mean, like wanting, like starting conversations and be like, do you know something about this? And do you have information about this? And like um, yeah, definitely he's going through a transformation. I sense that he's very eager to know certain things. I could see him more communicative than usual. But definitely, here with the death card in the middle, I think that Jimin is slowly sort of accepting this part of his life and not feeling like this is a threat, like because I could sort of feel like he wants to know something and he's sort of like questioning Taemin and Taemin is avoiding the answer. And with the Five of Swords, I could sort of see Jimin being like, so you're not telling me this on purpose? Like, why you're not telling me this? Like, I asked you about this. Sort of feeling a bit like, are you lying to me? Like sort of being on the defensive. But I believe that he sort of feels like this or has this perception because he is afraid of losing control. Jimin is like someone that he feels like the more information he gets, the more power he will have over certain things. But here with the death card in the middle, there's a massive change in his life that is coming. A massive change and transformation in his everyday life or the way he had been living life lately. So yes, there's a lot of nervousness, there's a lot of defensiveness, there's a lot of overthinking coming from him. So he is a bit like nervous, he's a bit like sort of apprehensive. He's like, so you're not telling me this? Why are you hiding this information from me? Like, are you lying to me? Like sort of being on the defensive and thinking that okay, you're not sharing this information because like, is there something wrong? Is this negative? Like sort of getting a bit paranoid, I would say. But this is also, I also could see him getting a bit moody and probably like having a bit of discussion with few people like before he enlists, like sort of like I don't think it's just Taemin. I think that it could be in general, like him like blocking some people or maybe like ghosting some people. I don't know, because I feel like he has like an internal struggle. Like there's something about him and this change that is for him it feels like huge. Like he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the unknown. He doesn't like this change, this transformation. He's like, I'm not made for this life. I'm not built for this sort of change. Like I have been living my life in a certain way and I don't want this change. So I could see him like sort of maybe having a few arguments with people that he loves and sort of like ghosting a few people, sort of having an argument before he goes or something like that, because he is on the defensive. But this is why I get that it's because he is a bit fearful. He has these fears, like I don't like it. I don't like knowing where I'm going. I don't like this. Like, even though he will not be alone, but there's this fear of the unknown. Like, I don't want things that I know to end. I don't want this change. There's something about him resisting the change. So he will slowly will have to, accept that the more he resists, the more he's hurting himself. So, he will have to slow down with the overthinking. Like, he's just making a huge scenario in his mind that is not how he's going to go through this experience. It's not going to be that negative for him. Actually, it's going to do okay. He's going to be okay. It's just that I don't know, with all the source in here, it's probably like this very, like he cannot control his overthinking or his perception or his imagination even, about what he's going to be facing in there. But he's going to be okay. So, but definitely I do see him like sort of being on the defensive, like being a bit moody, being like, I don't like it, like I have so many questions, and you're not answering my questions. And of course that, if we think about Taemin's perspective, like there's no way he can, like, yeah, he can share his experience, but at the same time, each experience is personal. So this is why he's so selective, because he's like, you are not me. Like somehow, like to reassure Jimin that he's going to have a positive experience, and also because there's something about Taemin also healing, and also Taemin being, this is why he gets the wall card, because Taemin has already moved on from what happened in the past. So he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to, pick up the sort of, the bad memories or the bad experience or the uncomfortableness of what happened. He already healed that. He already let it go. So he's like, don't take me there because I don't want to talk about it. I'm slowly getting closer to the light. If you notice, from Taemin's perspective, all these scars that he has, all of them, if you look at the characters, all the sky in these pictures are clear. But when it comes to Jimin's side, we have like a more darker, we have clouds, we have a more darker sky. There's a lot of clouds, there's a lot of confusion, there's a bit of like, okay, I cannot see, I cannot comprehend. So since I cannot see, or I'm in sort of negative mode, everything it's wrong for me. I see everything that is black, like it's not okay. But he will have to, he will have to just surrender and not overthink it. And then the relationship as an overall, yeah, we have the Seven of Wands, the Hierophant, and the High Priestess. So yeah, I definitely think that there's something about their connection that they do fight, or they do feel like they have to defend their friendship with each other's companies, because I see the company in the middle. I see both of their companies in the middle. Maybe back then, when they started, the companies were like okay with each other, so there wasn't like, yeah, you go hang out, like actually it's good that you two, you have so much in common, like go and hang out. But definitely here, I do sense that the companies sort of get in the middle of like, okay, if you go and hang out with him, this better be for work, or this better be for a promotion. But, sort of don't say this or don't share this information, because here with the High Priestess, I believe that there's something about the companies being like, don't talk about certain things. I don't know if they had done it in the past, probably, because they do have a lot of source in here, so there's something about them probably having information and talking about it with each other and being very communicative and sharing some things. And also because they have history, so they know the reality of a lot of things. So maybe because they have this very tight bond, there's something about them, maybe saying too much. So here with the High Priestess, in the Hierophant and the Seven of Wands, it's like the company's coming in the middle and being like, remember, don't talk about it, don't say this, don't, like sort of like limiting them and being like, it's not that they are forbidden to hang out, but it's like, don't talk about that subject. And if he asks you, I could see the company sort of like having this this discussion with them on their own, you know, like for example, I don't know, SM saying to Taemin, if Jimin says something about this, don't answer, and and Jimin hearing like, okay, if Taemin talks about this subject, don't do it, like don't say anything, just laugh, don't, like there's definitely, which is. But I believe since the High Priestess is in here, that definitely this is being like sort of brought up because there had been an incident in the past of them sharing a lab, or they sharing, like spilling a secret. Because here with the High Priestess, it's like, please don't talk about the past, or don't talk about things that maybe hasn't been revealed. I don't know if they like to spoil things to each other, like to tell each other details about things that hasn't come out, like. But definitely, I sort of see that this actually could get in the way of their friendship more often as time passes. There's something about them. It's not that the companies want them separated, but there's something about them knowing that both of them have a lot of information. So it's like, okay, we better watch out with these two. Like, or if you hang out, I'm going to, you know, go with so-and-so when you hang out with Jimin, or when you hang out with Taemin, like go with so-and-so. It's like them, like not being left alone, sort of like having babysitters around them, having people monitoring them, because they have a lot of info. Probably, like I know there's idols that they do hold a lot of information and experience, of course, but maybe these two means in here, these Taemin and Jimin, they have the tea, both of them, and they are so like spontaneous with each other. Like definitely they have a lot of conversations. And probably in the past there had been some revelations, so the companies are not happy with this. They're like, like, you know, just in case, don't talk about certain things. But yeah, it could be about business as well. But yeah, definitely. This is all I see for them. Definitely also here with the Hierophant and the High Priestess, probably, you know, in the near future, it's going to pass a lot of time since we see them together again, for us to see them again together or collaborating, you know, because, you know, the Hierophant, it could be also, you know, the institution, you know, the military, the obligations, the traditions, you know, and it's going to be long 2 years, like sort of, you know, also with the High Priestess, there's something about, you know, what is hidden, something that is being secret. Maybe they do talk to each other, but or they meet, but it's going to be kept in secret. Yeah, maybe because of Jimin enlisting, but yeah, they will have to. We will have to wait a bit to see them together again. So yeah, guys, this is all I have for these two. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.